Okay, folks, this is Tom Tabor with Mississippi State Extension Service Poultry Science Department, and I'd like to welcome y'all to the Coastal Research and Extension Center's Producer Advisory Council meeting Poultry Update. The Poultry Updates changed a whole lot since this time last year, as I'm sure everybody knows, because of the pandemic situation. So, we're going to talk a lot today about backyard chickens and COVID-19. And again, at the end of the presentation, we can talk about, other things other than just what is in this presentation if y'all have something you want to talk about. But the presentation itself is going to focus a lot on backyard chickens because there's been a huge increase in the number of folks that have backyard chickens or that want backyard chickens because of the pandemic situation. So again, last year, especially March, April, May, mail order hatcheries that ship chickens to you in the mail. And again, you can order chickens through the mail and the Postal Service will deliver those things to you. But again, these mail order hatcheries were overwhelmed last year with orders from folks that wanted to get backyard chickens, either because they wanted to supply their own eggs, they wanted to grow their own meat, or maybe they just needed something to do since they couldn't go to work because of the pandemic situation. But the situation was such that mail order hatcheries were backed up for weeks and weeks because they could not ship as many chickens as what folks were trying to order. So if you're kind of thinking you might want to get into the backyard chicken world, I would plan ahead starting now and visit with some of these hatcheries and make sure that they're going to have what you want. You're going to have to tell them what kind of breed of chicken you want, how many you want. Some of these hatcheries have specific orders of chickens that you have to order, maybe 20, 25 chicks. But again, I would start now trying to line all this stuff up, because if you don't, you may have trouble getting chickens again this spring. So plan ahead. Backyard chickens take a lot of work, and they come with a fair amount of expense, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a bit. There are several extension poultry programs that we offer at Mississippi State. I have several programs. My colleague in poultry science, Dr. Jessica Wells, has several programs. Some of these we've both had for a while. Some of them are fairly new. For instance, I have one called Beginning Poultry that is a new program that I built last year after the pandemic started, and it pretty much takes you from start to finish on getting into the backyard chicken business, how to get your chicks, how to take care of them, what to feed them, what diseases you need to be aware of, how to practice good biosecurity. It takes about 2 hours to present this program. There are also several specific programs. There's one for poultry nutrition that also takes about 2 hours. That is designed for nutrition of meat type chickens, nutrition of egg laying chickens, and the nutrition of dual purpose breeds that are fairly good at both meat and eggs. There's one on poultry diseases that also takes about 2 hours, and it hinges on the different types of diseases that chickens can catch, some that are fairly common here, some that maybe are not so common in this part of the country. But it's basically geared specifically to diseases. There's one on biosecurity that takes about an hour to present that helps you understand what biosecurity is, how to practice good biosecurity so that hopefully you don't track any diseases home to your chickens or track any diseases off your farm that other chickens somewhere else can catch. There's one on poultry housing and predator protection that also takes about an hour. Again, it's designed specifically for different types of housing, how to build housing for your chickens, what they need, what they require, how to protect them from predators, because again, you have to protect them from different types of varmints because there's a lot of other critters out there besides us that like chicken dinners. Again, my colleague Jessica Wells has several programs. One's the Poultry Hatch Out program that she uses with elementary schools, where she takes, small incubators with chick eggs that are just about ready to hatch, maybe within the next day or two, takes them into elementary classrooms, usually the first part of the week, maybe on a Tuesday. Kids can see the chickens hatch out maybe Wednesday and Thursday. She goes back on Friday and presents her program on, how that chicken got out of that egg, how it became a baby chick when you started with an egg. They're specifically designed basically for the age of that classroom. It's a very popular program in the elementary schools. She's got another one on poultry production basic overview, which again is kind of a general start to finish program on how to get chickens, how to take care of chickens, what to look for. And she's got one on choosing a flock of backyard chickens. You know, what breed do you want to use? How many do you want to have? Do you want roosters? Do you not want roosters? Do you need roosters? So again, she has several programs, I have several programs, and we can still present these programs in person if you want a program in your county. And we'll talk a little bit more here in just a bit about how to do that. If you're planning on selling meat and eggs to the public, there are some rules that you're going to have to follow, and you need to know these rules. So if you do plan to sell meat or eggs, you're going to have to get a hold of the Mississippi Board of Animal Health and let them know that you do want to sell meat or eggs. They will come out and inspect your facility, make sure you have a refrigerator or some way to keep the eggs cool down below 40 degrees, because you're going to have to keep the eggs below 40, and they'll test your flock for different diseases and make sure your birds are healthy and it's safe to sell meat and eggs. Once that's complete, you'll need to call Laura Dillon at the Mississippi Department of Ag and Commerce and get a permit that will allow you to sell to the public. There's no charge for the services from the Board of Animal Health, but the permit will cost you $10. You need to check local city and county ordinances and rules as to what they will allow and what they won't allow when it comes to backyard chickens, because a lot of cities do not like to have roosters with the folks that have chickens. They may let you have chickens, but they may not want roosters with those flocks. Roosters crow and they make a lot of noise and they upset the neighbors. So again, check and make sure that you know what your city or county will allow you to do before you jump into the backyard chicken business. And you may not need roosters. You know, it may not be a concern. If you want to set eggs and you want to hatch baby chicks, yeah, you are going to need a rooster to get fertile eggs. But if you just want eggs for yourself, or you want eggs to sell to the public and they don't need to be fertile, you don't need roosters. The hens are going to start laying when they become sexually mature and they get old enough, whether there's a rooster running with them or not. Choose your chickens wisely. You know, some are better hot weather chickens, some are better cold weather chickens. You know, this morning when I recorded this, you know, it was snowing in Starkville, so there's probably a lot of chickens waking up this morning wondering what the heck happened overnight. But again, know what you want and know whether you need a hot weather chicken or a cold weather chicken. Usually the Mediterranean breeds do better in hot, humid climates, and most American breeds do better in cool climates. Usually birds with large combs, chickens that have great big combs, usually perform better in hot weather areas. Part of the problem with a great big comb is that that comb can get frostbitten in the wintertime. So if you're going to be in a cold area where below freezing temperatures are a problem a lot of the winter, you might want a breed that has a smaller variety comb just to try to keep it safe in the wintertime when the temperatures are below freezing a lot of the time. Consider the expense. You know, having chickens is not going to be cheap, folks. You've got to get those chickens first. Either purchase them as baby chicks and raise them, or else purchase adult birds from somebody else that you're confident has a safe flock that doesn't have any disease issues associated with it. But again, you're going to have to buy chickens either as baby chicks or as adult birds. You're going to have to furnish housing, and housing's not going to be cheap. You've probably got wire involved, you've probably got lumber involved, maybe sheet iron for the roof. All of this stuff's going to cost money. Your biggest cost, though, is going to be in feed. Feed's probably going to be roughly 70% of what it takes to maintain that flock of chickens. You've also got to protect them from the predators. Again, hawks, owls, raccoons, possums, skunks, they all like chicken dinners just like we do. So you're going to have to take care of those chickens and protect them from the varmints that want to eat them. Biosecurity is also an issue. You're going to have to try to protect those chickens from disease as best you can. You don't want to track anything home to them. and you don't want to track anything off your farm that other chickens somewhere else can catch. So you're going to have to understand biosecurity and be aware that if you buy baby chicks, to make sure you know where your eggs are coming from. You're not going to have any eggs for about 6 months. It's going to take that chicken that long to grow up and become an adult and become sexually mature before it can start laying eggs. So if you're getting into the business from the baby chick stage, you've got several months without any eggs that you're going to have to take care of that chicken, that you're going to have to feed it before it's going to be able to lay you any eggs. Again, Poultry Extension is here to help you in any way that we can. We can still do extension programs in person as long as we follow all the guidelines, no more than 10 people in the room. Everybody's got to have a mask. We've got to have hand sanitizer. We've got to practice proper social distancing. But again, we can still do programs for you in person. And if you would like a poultry program in your county, contact your county agent or contact me, and we'll work on that, and we'll come up with whatever it is that you're interested in that can try to help you be better at growing backyard chickens. If you have a poultry-related question, it doesn't make any difference what it's about, feel free to contact me, feel free to contact my colleague, Dr. Jessica Wells. We're both on campus, and we'll try to help you any way we can. With that, I'll say thank you. And I'll try to answer any questions anybody may have. It doesn't necessarily have to contain something that was in this presentation. If you've got a question pertaining to something else in the general chicken world, feel free, and we'll see if we can answer your questions. Thanks for your time.